Have you guys heard about the case of Kuku Foods, the operators of KFC in Uganda versus the Uganda Revenue Authority, which arose after URA asked them to pay capital gains tax of 4.2 billion Uganda shillings? Let me give it to you. First things first. Kuku Foods is an exclusive franchise operator in Uganda. If you don't know what a franchise is, this channel is not for you. Anyways, they hold exclusive rights to the KFC brand, and they have branches all over the country in Kampala, Entebbe, Gayaza, and so on. As of now, they have over 18 branches in Uganda. Now, Kuku Foods is part of a broader Kuku Foods East Africa Limited, which operates KFC across Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, and now Rwanda. Now, they are also a partner of the Vivo Energy, which operates the Shell stations, and they did this to expand their services through the drive-thrus. Now, all this started in 2019. Kuku Foods was 100%, 99% owned by, of course, Kuku Foods people. Now, eventually in 2019, Vivo Energy comes and tells these guys, I think we can do business, together. AKA, Vivo Energy wanted to buy a share of Kuku Foods. Now, in 2019, they agreed and Vivo Energy invested and got 50% of the shares in Kuku Foods. But now, they had to do a lot of restructuring because Kuku Foods had apparently only about 1,000 shares, and now Vivo Energy was coming in and they produced new shares, and they took it up to almost 30 million shares, which means that even the initial capital, capital is the initial money you put into the business, the whole structure had to change because Vivo Energy is bringing in new capital, which also meant that the debt that Kuku Foods had was converted into equity because now they have gotten some new money coming into the business. So all this meant that this is a complex transaction which was taking place. Everything went on, they got the approval, they did the purchase, and ownership changed 50% now for Vivo Energy, 50% the original Kuku Foods owners. And all this was going on between 2019 all the way it was concluded in 2022 when the new shares were registered. And let me tell you, Uganda Revenue Authority was watching, patiently waiting. Anyways, nonetheless, eventually URA comes knocking to Kuku Foods and tells them, well, congratulations on your new ownership. However, you need to pay capital gains tax of 4.2 billion Uganda shillings. Now, obviously, you guys don't know what capital gains is because you're not finance people, but this is basically a profit that you make after the sale of your assets in the company. So if you have, for example, shares and you sell them and you get a profit compared to how much you bought the shares, you have a capital gain. If you got a motorcycle at 2,000 and you sell it at 5,000, you have a capital gain of 3,000. Okay, nonetheless, you guys have understood what that is. So you came and said, you guys sold part of your business, which means you gotta pay us. Let me tell you, Kuku Foods was like, niggas, wake the fuck up. We are not paying you 4.2 billion Uganda shillings. They took them to a tax appeal tribunal. I told these guys we cannot pay 4.2 billion. So, nonetheless, URA was arguing that companies in Uganda do that where they restructure their ownership using offshore accounts in order to evade taxes. Yet they still have businesses and making money in the country. Anyways, Kuku Foods argued that, bro, first of all, we didn't get any taxable gain from this transaction. It was just internally. We didn't actually get any proceeds. Secondly, the method of your computation. How can you compute 4.2 billion? Where did we get 4.2 billion? That is what Kuku Foods was arguing. What did the tax tribunal say? Well, it gave a mixed verdict. It did say that, yes, people or companies actually do this where they go out and restructure their ownership in order to avoid taxes. And they went on to say that even if there was no sale or proceeds from the transaction, a 50% change in ownership definitely triggers what? Statutory, Anyways, at the same time, they said, Kuku Foods, we are also thinking about you. So as much as there was a change in the ownership, they say they don't trust the 4.2 billion which was computed by URA. Hence, they told URA to go back and recompute, and then now they'll have a different conversation. So at the end of the day, this case has been such a landmark because so many other multinational companies go through such transactions, and at the end of the day, they don't know where the capital gains is coming from or how much they'll have to do. Anyways, what do you guys think about this? For Kuku Foods, they still now have time to go back and scrutinize all whatever assessments and transactions that, were done. For URA, they're looking for the next victim.